10 scariest murder houses that actually exist. We've all seen horror movies where a family or couple moves into a home where a gruesome murder occurred and starts seeing supernatural things. Living in a house where people were brutally murdered is creepy, even if you don't believe in ghosts or bad energy. Number 10. JonBenet Ramsey home. Before tragedy struck in 1996, 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey's home was happy and funny. Little JonBenet was hit in the head and strangled in an unsolved murder. Carol Schuller Milner, daughter of televangelist Robert Schuller, bought her Colorado home after it had been vacant for a long time. Miller sought to sell the house for $2.3 million in 2011 despite never living there. When no one bought it, it was relisted for $1.9 million in 2014. It appeared that no one else wanted to acquire the residence where a youngster was brutally murdered in late 2015. Some people are making this a dark monument as opposed to thinking about the restoration that can occur after a tragedy. Milner said, "Death is not final, and God is not bound by it. I don't think He'd leave us, and it impairs my ability to appreciate this house's beauty." Number 9. Camden Ripper House. The newspapers dubbed Anthony Hardy the Camden Ripper, a serial killer who killed 3 women in his North London flat before being apprehended. After throwing his victims' body parts into the garbage outside his flat, he was caught immediately, unlike Jack the Ripper. A tramp found legs in the dumpster while rummaging. Hardy abused prostitutes before his 2003 life sentence. His former flat is currently rented by multiple tenants who likely know about him. Its recent date may make this crime scarier. Looking at the walls, you may envision the killer's view. Number 8. Crossbow Cannibal House. Stephen Griffiths, killers behind bars. The Crossbow Cannibal. Azarius Fontaine, a Bradford student, rents a cheap flat. He gets a full flat in a huge student area for £360 a month, which is great. Fontaine lives there cheaply because he lives with Stephen Griffiths, the Crossbow Cannibal. Griffiths murdered and dismembered 3 people in the property bath. Then he prepared and ate their remnants in the kitchen. Fontaine was fine with being warned about the flat's terrible past before signing the lease. Since the bathroom and kitchen were renovated, he thinks the crime scene is gone. Still, his mother says she felt a spirit touch her shoulder when visiting her son's home. Number 7. Gardette-LaPrete House. This residence is also expensive. It was listed for $2.65 million in 2013 in New Orleans' historic district despite its grim past. In the 1830s, Jean-Baptiste LaPrete bought the pink home and rebuilt it with beautiful wrought iron fences on all the balconies. LaPrete rented the property to a wealthy Turkish man reputed to be a sultan's brother. Incense and music surrounded the property during mysterious celebrations at night. Unfortunately, one celebration ended in tragedy. Local police suspected a crime after seeing blood on the front steps. When they entered, they found all the party participants mangled and dismembered. Number 6. Tyler Hadley House. Tyler Hadley, 17 of 371 Northeast Grandeur Avenue in Port St. Lucie, Florida, was troubled. He was close to his parents, Blake and Mary Jo, until he started smoking pot as a youngster. When he tried heavier substances and various highs, his thoughts got violent. He told several acquaintances he planned to murder his parents, but most rejected it as attention seeking from a class clown. Tyler hosted his first house party in 2011. He had never been allowed to, but he said his parents were out of town and he no longer cared about the house. Over 200 kids could stay at his house and do whatever they wanted without drawing police notice. He confessed to his best friend in the early morning that he had killed his parents. Both heads were hammered by him. Tyler murdered his mother first, then his father. Number 5. Dennis Nilsson 5, Cranley Gardens. In the lush London neighborhood of Muswell Hill, Flat 23D, Cranley Gardens is in a desirable but expensive location. A balcony offers wonderful views of the north side of the city. The home was listed for £300,000 in April 2015. The former owner, Dennis Nilsson, was a serial killer who terrorized the area, making it a bargain. He lured young males back home with food or drink. He would kill them and preserve their remains for months. He masturbated close to their bodies or watched TV with them. After playing, he would chop them up and flush the body parts down the toilet. He may have slain 9 men before moving into the flat, where 3 died. Had he chopped the body smaller, he could have escaped with the killings. Number 4. The Burney House. The worst serial killer couple in Australia is David and Catherine Burney. David and Catherine Burney were serial killers with filthy appetites. A young woman named Mary Nielsen arrived at 3 Morehouse Street to buy automobile tires, starting their reign of terror in Perth, Australia. Raped and bound to a bed, she got no deal. Her body was dumped in a neighboring woodland after she was stabbed and strangled. Between October 1986 and December 1986, the Burneys would take 3 more victims. The following victims were a 15-year-old hitchhiker called Susan Candy and a 31-year-old lady who ran out of petrol on the highway. Next, they killed 21-year-old hitchhiker Denise Brown. Their murder spree ended in November when they tried to kidnap a 17-year-old girl. She fled and told the police, who found the pair's horrible crimes. They were not married. Catherine left her husband and children in 1985 to live with David and acquired his surname. Their residence has changed hands multiple times in 20 years. Number 3. Rosengle Murder House. 2 Rosengle, opposite Dundee's Art College, features 4 large bedrooms and a wonderful location. When listed for £500,000 in September 2015, this big property seemed like a bargain. The property's dark past deterred purchasers. The Rosengle house is opposite a church and could be mistaken for the local priest's home. A lonely elderly doctor and his wife owned it. The house was visited by Henry John Gallagher in 1980. Given his history of attacking clerics, he likely felt he had discovered another. Gallagher broke into the residence and hammered the residents to death. He later murdered a priest and his housekeeper in Ramsgate, Kent, without being convicted. Number 2. Betts House. DC school principal shot dead. This house makes you question a curse. 3 murders occurred at 9337 Columbia Boulevard in Silver Spring, Maryland in a few years. The 2011 listing price was $515,000. Anthony Kelly burglarized the residence in 2002 and pistol-whipped Erica Smith. She was shot dead at point-blank range after calling her father for rescue. Kelly shot Greg Russell at least 6 times and murdered him after he ran to help his daughter. A New Testament was all Kelly stole before leaving the house. Popular middle school principal Brian K. Betts learned of these occurrences in 2003 after his house purchase was underway. Number 1. Massacre House, Edmonton. Edmonton mass murder suspects family issues. Most Edmontonians wish to forget the worst mass murder. 83 Street residents who knew 53-year-old Fu Lam and his family, who lived at 18,024, are most affected. December 29, 2014, Lam snapped. He shot and killed his wife and 6 of her family and friends inside the property. He then killed another woman on the south side of the city before murdering himself at a Vietnamese restaurant in Fort Saskatchewan. He murdered 9 people that day, including a 3-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy. Lam saved his 1-year-old daughter and an infant nephew. The bank foreclosed on the 3-bedroom house, which sold for $36,500 in August 2015. Despite its pleasant area, many neighbors consider the property too gory, even moving away to escape the terrible memories. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.